Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the new Marvel Legends Alpha Flight Guardian figure, not to be confused with DC's Guardian, who is not the same character. And this guy is one that, I guess he needed a new version. The old one's not the best. I'll show you in a minute what he looks like, but it honestly holds up better than I thought it would. So this one's a little bit questionable, especially since there are some incredibly questionable things about this guy. However, there are some pretty good things about this guy too. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 17 centimeters, which makes him pretty close to 6 and let's say 5/8 inches. So he does have a little bit of size to him. We've seen this body before. I'm pretty sure everything on this is completely old except for the head. And, well, the head's the worst part about the figure, honestly. But overall, it has a really nice aesthetic. This body does have overall pretty good proportions. We do have some issues here and there with it, and we'll get to that in the articulation section. But as far as their current sculpts go, yeah, the arms are a little bubbly, but all in all, it's one of their better ones. So it's nice to see it getting used a little bit more frequently. That's pretty cool. And I think this is the perfect choice for his body. I think it suits him very nicely, and so that's very good. Now, as far as other things on the aesthetics front, well, the reds don't match for crap. The red on the chest is nowhere near the same red that's on the arms. I don't know if that's showing up on camera. Sometimes different colors do different things, especially when some of them are molded plastic and some are painted. You get different problems. Although I think the red is molded here as well. No, it's painted. Yeah, so it handles the light differently, so it looks different on camera than it does in real life. But in real life, this red, very different from this red. These parts, very different from these parts. These parts painted terribly. These parts, the red just doesn't line up throughout the leg. It's just a mess. They really screwed the pooch on the red there. The white parts are overall pretty good. I do believe all of the white is molded. I don't think there's any painted white. So that's really good. They don't quite match because they have different plastic for the torso and hips. That's a harder plastic like ABS. Then we have the PVC plastic down here, which has slightly more yellowish tone to it. I don't know how well that shows up on camera. It's not too bad in real life. It is noticeable, but it's not gonna be like totally jarring, so that's okay. And then the Canadian flag on his chest, that's not what the Canadian flag looks like. I don't know what they did there. I mean, his chest is always a little bit exaggerated in terms of what the actual flag looks like, but here you can see half of a maple leaf. That's the original one, by the way. And like I said, it doesn't hold up too bad. It does have that really boxy body and goofy proportions, but there are some things that can be appreciated about this guy, namely the flag looking all right. Like, that looks like half a flag. This just looks like a starburst pattern. I don't know what happened there. Did Canada change their flag sometime recently? I don't think they did. And then the last thing we need to talk about is his face. Oh my goodness. His mouth is huge. And the way his mouth is sculpted, it doesn't look so much like a grimace as it does that he's not wearing his dentures. It's just a very terrible, terrible face sculpt from the nose down. From the nose up, it's average, it's fine. But here's the other problem. They didn't paint the underside of his nose. Now, okay, so some versions of him, as far as I can tell, have his nose completely covered up in white, and some versions don't. However, this one is sculpted such that it should be flesh tone, so it looks bad that it's not painted. If you prefer the all-white version, that's fine, and if you prefer the painted version, well, I guess you're gonna have to do it yourself. But it's definitely sculpted to be painted, and they didn't, so that's kind of a bummer. So all in all, the aesthetics on this guy, the base body's good, but we have some issues. So I'm gonna give it a 6 because the non-matching reds is a problem, and then the Canadian flag being all jacked up is a problem. Like, that's not even close to the Canadian flag. Not even a little. Like, I can't get that. They got Union Jack right, and everybody complained about it. I wonder if people are complaining about this, which is just a maple leaf. Anyway, here's a quick look at the two side by side. You can definitely see the scale creep. It's not necessarily a great thing, but there you go. You can make your choice. Honestly, as much as I don't like this figure for a lot of reasons, it does appeal to me in a lot of ways that this one doesn't. So it's just kind of interesting to see those side by side. All right, time for accessories is 0 out of 10. Time for articulation. We've seen it all before. This will be quick. The head can lean back, it can lean forward, and it is too high on the ball peg. Not terribly so. Like, it's not going to really stand out, but it can if you don't pose it carefully. So be aware of that. It does lean side to side because it sits so high on that ball peg, and of course it rotates around. Is this head too big? Not necessarily too big. It could use to be a little bit smaller. I wouldn't go as far as this. They took the whole superhero proportions a bit too far with this version. You can see how small his head really is there. But this one's head is maybe potentially too big. Not like it's too big, but like it could be smaller too big. You get the idea. Shoulders rotate all the way around, of course. You have to be careful when you tuck them in, but they do have horizontal range, so that's good. Already did that. Bicep swivel's okay. Double jointed elbows are okay. They didn't paint the nubbins. Wrist swivel and hinge. Ab crunch on this guy is pretty good. They screwed the flag again. No problem there though. Full rotation. Hips go about 45 degrees out to the side. Going forward, no problem at all. Very nice. No range going back at all. Thigh swivel is good. Double jointed knees are terrible. They still had that extra plastic in there. They did not retool this mold yet. I doubt they're ever going to at this point. Shin swivel if you like it. Ankle goes all the way back and really far forward. That's awesome. And you get a very solid ankle rocker out of that swivel hinge. So articulation on this guy, definitely not the worst we've ever seen. It's not the best, but it's definitely good enough. I'll give it a 7. Yeah, it's not impressive, but it's pretty solid. I'll give it a 7. Maybe like if you wanted to skew up to an 8, you probably could make that argument. It's just, you know, with the knees being limited, that's kind of a problem. So ultimately, time for the final verdict on this guy. Is it a welcomed addition? I guess. I don't mind it. I don't know that we needed it as much. But I guess if you're trying to build a contemporary Alpha Flight team and don't want to whip this guy out, then it was kind of necessary. So that's kind of good, I guess, that people got it. Did Hasbro do a good job? Yeah, not really. Not particularly. The paint job's like half good and half terrible. Like the line work's clean, but it's not where it should be. So that's kind of a problem. I think really the biggest factor for me, I can look past just about all of it, except for that flag being so ridiculously inaccurate. That's just no bueno. So final verdict on this guy, 6 out of 10. It's just not good enough. The saving grace is the mold that they chose to use, and that's just not enough. The face is questionable, the paint job is very questionable, and that includes the flag, which is 100% stupid. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think about this figure in the comment section below. Alright guys, if you haven't subscribed, you might want to do it. I have new videos up just about every single day. Thousands of videos already on the channel. Make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.